tonight, and the first Emmy Award goes to...
Alive, taking a stand for Christ, Shawn Vela and Jeff Autumn, Vela Visuals from Orlando.
My name is Shawn Vela. I'm a filmmaker based in Central Florida. I have a company called Vela Visuals, and we do video production for companies in Florida, the nation, and worldwide. I got into video in 2008, and I started kind of like anybody else, completely by accident. At the time, I was going to college for business, and I was working at a restaurant full-time, and then I got really into doing audio and recording music and stuff like that. And it was through that I met this guy in Philadelphia who owned a video production company, and I started doing internship work for him, and that's kind of how I got into doing video, was like completely by accident and just focusing more on audio at the time. I create because I feel like there's something inside of me that is always looking to help someone else. And I feel like with the gifts and the talents that I have, the best way that I feel like I'm doing that is when I'm creating something, whether it's a film or whether it's an experience that someone's having on set. That's kind of when I feel like I'm the best version of myself, is when I'm doing something like that, when I'm like setting up lights or setting up a look of an interview or something like that. That's really when I feel like it's, taking it from just like a normal person walking around to kind of feeling in the zone. When I'm feeling in my own element is when I'm, creating something for someone else. In terms of filmmaking, I would say a majority of the work that we do, it has to do with like interviews and B-roll and documentary style type work. So we do a lot of stuff that involves whether it's like a product promotional or like a client experience that someone had with a specific company or an engagement that they had with a product or service. So we do a lot of stuff like that, but at the same time we do all kinds of aerial type stuff for like aerial footage, and yeah, that's kind of like the main focus that we have, and the style is more to try to just take a different approach of just like traditional video, like kind of going away from the idea of like traditional video and making it more with like a cinematic touch. So like having elements including like lighting and like good sound and good movement of the cameras. That's kind of the goal that we have in mind. Apart from the main thing and the main focus that we have is really just understanding what's important to the client and the people that we're trying to help. Because in the end of the day, when we understand what they're really looking for and what their goals are, then we can kind of craft what we do with the equipment. So like we have tons of equipment, and we kind of cater what we use to build and to craft that specific story or video or any type of web or commercial. The thing that I like about the LensPal is that it allows me access to equipment that I don't own that will accent a certain project. So for example, if I was going to rent the Ronin for like training videos or something that required like slider motions or like any type of movement, that's great. Or if I needed specific slow motion cameras, then I'd rent something like a FS7 or something like that. So just the ability to have access to a variety of different tools is what allows us to be able to create a variety of different products. Because in the end of the day, like I said, we own a lot of equipment ourselves, but what's really helpful is that like for specific jobs or for a specific look or something very like specific to the needs of the client, like it helps us to use the right tool for the job. One of the things that was really cool is that we worked on a short film documentary that we submitted to the Emmys, and we actually won for a program. So which means like it won for just the content and the way it was filmed and everything like that, including the story. And the thing that was really cool about that is that we had access for that specific shoot to use like equipment from the LensPal. So we used the A7S II, for example, for specific B-roll shots in low light to accompany the B-roll in like slow motion, and the C100 II and different lenses from the LensPal. And that really allowed us to kind of shape the story in the way that we wanted to, and it really helped us kind of define that look that we were going for. And when we submitted it and we realized that it was good enough to win an Emmy, we were just so excited and so happy and very grateful just to have access to different tools that would allow us to kind of create what we had in our minds and what we were going for. One of the things that I noticed kind of just in being in the creative space in general is there's a lot of different kinds of people that work in there, and there's different motivations behind different people. Some people are motivated by like money, or some people are motivated by having a lot of cool equipment. For me, it's a little bit different because my motivation mainly comes from being a Christian and being or having a relationship with God. So for me, I just feel like every time I'm creating something, and a lot of times, whether it's for the church or anything like that, it has almost like more of a value in terms of like what you're doing, and more of a responsibility, because it's not just making something for like one time that you're going to get paid for. Like, here's a job, like you're going to do it and get paid for one time and then do another job. Like it essentially has an eternal purpose. So for example, the film that we worked on with Courtney, which is the one that we submitted and won an Emmy for, like the thing that made her story amazing was the fact that she had this transformation, and we were showcasing her journey with Christ and how she was kind of battling her faith. So it's like moments like that, you're taking on the responsibility of a story that God has put in someone's life, and you're responsible for showcasing that story in a way that glorifies Him. So to me, as a Christian creative, you can see that you're entrusted with this great story that God has created. Because I didn't create the story, but I'm responsible for telling it in a way that shows His glory. And for me, it's just like even more of like a responsibility, and even more of a reason that I kind of need to be on point with what I'm doing, because I feel like you can't do anything halfway. If we really have that connection and we really are motivated by doing things with excellence, then we have to do things with excellence. So that's kind of like I don't want to say mantra that I live by, but it's one of the things that I think about all the time when I'm creating. And it's taking a moment to stop and think, okay, what can I do in this situation that I'm doing it with excellence, as opposed to just doing it to do it. As documentary filmmakers, we're trusted with these vulnerable and triumphant moments, but it's what we do with those moments that defines the story and inspires the viewer. Currently, we're still doing tons of other different projects, still like more short film, documentary style stuff for a lot of different companies, and we're doing conference shoots and training videos and a lot of like web commercials and broadcast commercials. Where I see us going, kind of next steps, is continuing to help even more and more people. So not necessarily needing just filming more videos or creating more content that people can use in their video marketing and stuff like that, but taking it from a position of not just creating, moving into an education space where we're kind of helping other people as well to create certain types of videos, whether it's like through online courses or through workshops or anything like that. So we're trying to make the step and make the movement to just kind of broaden our scope to be able to help even more people than what we're doing right now.